Hey everybody, Jazzy here. I just wanted to post a video recapping some of my thoughts on the beta release of Don't Starve Hamlet, which includes all of the aspects that I love with the new DLC, some ideas on how Clay might develop further on the game, and what I feel needs improvement or fixing. I felt very fortunate to be part of the beta and will absolutely buy and play the DLC when the full release comes in December. Overall, it is a well-balanced version of the game that intentionally unbalances a few elements of the traditional playstyle, forcing players to take a much different approach to surviving. Here's the deal. You get thrown into a dangerous world, but there are elements of a potentially friendly civilization close by, and the only way to acquire certain items is through interaction with these villages. A system of economy is always welcome in a survival game. Players can survive by working for the town, picking up after all of the incontinent pigs, and bringing them items such as berries, rope, hedge clippings, feathers, petals, and treasure from ancient ruins. In return, you can purchase items from several different stores, giving you completely renewable access to a massive variety of items. So let's start with the pig economy. I think that for the most part, these shops are reasonably priced. Considering how quickly one can eventually amass oinks with renewable items such as rope, berries, and nightmare fuel, 50 oinks for a Tam O'Shanter or Reign of Giants boss drop doesn't seem all that pricey to me. I like that certain items are only renewable through the stores, as a player must buy from them if they want to acquire certain items like cloth, which is needed to craft several important seasonal items. My main issue with the stores is the RNG associated with the restocking of the shelves. Say Lush season is about to start and you really need that piece of cloth for a gas mask. If you're lucky, it will be in the general store, but if you aren't, then you need to start buying up items and pray that the shopkeep will restock with cloth. I have blown through upwards of 100 oinks on pitchforks and fishing rods before seeing my first cloth. This seems unnecessarily random to me, especially when some of these items are important to surviving. What I would prefer to see is a shop with one shelf for each item, and that item never changes. You can see an example of this in the general store with gold nuggets. That shelf will always be restocked with a gold nugget. I see no reason why they can't do this with other important basic resources such as silk, hound's teeth, flint, and cloth. Speaking of basic resources, it would seem that a few of these important items are challenging to get a hold of in the new DLC. Silk can be slowly farmed from spider monkeys and cocoon trees, which are rainforest trees that grow within the spider monkey creep. The monkeys are tough to fight, with a small window to kite, and are not guaranteed to drop silk. Cocoon trees can be chopped down but are not currently renewable. Likewise, hound's teeth for repair kits are similarly challenging to acquire. The player needs to journey to the second Hamlet, which can take a while depending on your luck finding the right ruins. In the oddities store, hound's teeth can be purchased for 5 oinks. Again, you can quickly blow through a lot of oinks if you aren't lucky and they don't appear on the shelf. And the items in this store tend to be more expensive. I do like that certain resources like gears and silk are suddenly more challenging to acquire, as it makes for more creative approaches to survival. But I would like to see them eventually become more renewable for late gameplay, or at least less random in availability. Rocks also do not seem as abundant in Hamlet. You can buy them off a back shelf in one of the stores, but they don't get restocked. Cave clefts have been made more numerous in an update, but still don't come close to the abundance of rocks in the base game and in DST. Considering this is a super basic resource that's needed in tons of crafting recipes, I'd recommend rebalancing their abundance. Because the objective of the game is still to not starve, let's talk about food. My guess is that after the response of Shipwrecked, Clay wanted to do their next DLC with less than an absolute overabundance of food in the world. If true, then they certainly accomplished that scarcity in Hamlet. Don't expect to find a ton of meat or morsels while exploring the world, and there's no koalefant or whale to track and kill. You can get plenty of monster meat from mobs in the wild, but until you get a crockpot and bird cage going, turning that into food is going to be a big challenge. You can kill pig guards for large meat, but they are tedious to fight. Considering I can drop a tall bird in 10 seconds for 2 to 3 meat, a werepig in 15 seconds for 2 meat and a skin, but a pig guard takes me closer to a full minute, I'd say I deserve more than a single piece of meat for my trouble. On the other hand, wild veggies are plentiful. Cooked asparagus restores 25 hunger, which is equivalent to cooked meat, and radishes restore as much hunger as carrots. This, combined with the abundance of poop throughout the world, leads me to believe that more emphasis was meant to be placed on farming and less hunting-gathering. Seems like a more civilized approach to me, and guess what? Berry bushes and farm plots will grow year-round. No seasons that frost or wither your items. crossing my fingers that any 4th season added will be just as plant-friendly, but I highly doubt it would be otherwise. This is the DLC of jungles and rainforests, which occur in warmer parts of the world where plants grow year-round. The new crockpot recipes are interesting, but the only 2 recipes that I ever end up using were nettle rolls and asparagus soup. The latter is a great recipe and cheap healing, requiring just 1 asparagus, 1 more veggie, and 2 twigs. Unfortunately, the other recipes were less viable, especially steamed hams, which requires non-renewable foliage, tea, which requires 2 very rare orange picos, and honey, which is not yet renewable. Snake bone soup requires boss drops. They are good recipes. I would just recommend a rebalancing of the availability of ingredients so that we can cook more of these dishes. Tea especially. If you're going to insist on making me trap 2 picos for a single cup of tea, at least let me use a regular pico for the second one. As far as other mobs go, I would generally love to see more of the Hamlet monsters able to respawn. This goes for snap-tooth flytraps and seedlings especially, since they are the only sources of vines and flytrap stalks, both of which are used in a number of important crafting recipes. How about a mating season for the hippopotamuses? They are an excellent source of meat and natural defense and can also be used to farm trees. It would be a shame for them to be forced into extinction. I'm going to refrain from discussing the bosses too extensively. I think Clay has a lot more planned for these battles, and I think we caught a very small glimpse of the bigger picture associated with fighting them. There is at least 1 more boss that has yet to be implemented, but probably 2. Suffice it to say the new Queen Wormant is insanely difficult. Considering she drops the royal crown, which will eventually let you build your own Hamlet, I welcome the challenge and look forward to seeing more fighting strategies come from the community. Overall, I think Hamlet is a stunning DLC. Many players, myself included, often overlook the care that goes into color palettes and artwork associated with games. Hamlet is a kaleidoscopic presentation of vibrant colors and dynamic world elements. It is so refreshing to see a game continue to receive the artistic care that makes it such a unique play, and my top hat goes off to Clay in this regard. For a beta, I think the game is in very good shape. There will always be bugs to report and game mechanics to rebalance, but I've played a fair share of beta releases and few have been as polished as this one. So thanks to you, Clay, for the past 2 weeks. Now hurry up, finish the game, and take all my money. You've earned it. Thanks for listening, and please let me know what you think.